Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode where we at 459. Nothing's happening this week. What a boring start to 2022. Holy cow. We need some news, right? Well, we got a bombshell last night. Fanatics to acquire Tops. So I'm going to talk about that before I get into the nuts and bolts and my thoughts on this news. Just share what's been going on in the last 24 hours. Jenny and Brad with me. Good morning. So yesterday, like half of yesterday was spent doing my good deed for the day, for the week. What's up, George? My wife's friend, who we were supposed to go visit New Year's Eve, but we couldn't because of ice. She had a delivery, and they have basically it's not a cat, it's a house in the woods, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So as I drove, so I had to do a favor. She had a delivery for like a couch or something, whatever it was heavy. Whatever I had to help lift and carry in to the basement was very heavy. So I had to go out there, and I'm glad we didn't try to go out there because even 2 days after the winter storm, the roads are very curvy, a lot of hills. I was still having to drive like 30 miles per hour a couple days later, so it would have been very nasty driving through ice on Friday night. So I get out there. Delivery truck is supposed to be there at 2:30. I cruise. I'm taking my time. Nice little afternoon drive through the Wisconsin countryside. I like it. Gets me out of the house. I haven't been out of the house in a while besides the post office and in Costco, which, by the way, Costco was a freaking madhouse yesterday. I'm thinking, and I guess it was the Monday after the holiday. Here I go off on a soapbox. Oh my God. I just needed envelopes. By the way, the envelopes I get at Costco, way cheaper than anywhere else. I think I might have talked about this. I might have touched on this in a previous episode, but I get them for like 2 cents a piece. I think I talked about it yesterday. Anyway, so I bought 2,000 envelopes. My wife's like, we need Parmesan cheese, the wedge. I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna have to do two separate orders because the envelopes go on my business card. Okay. Can you order them online from Costco? Oh, yes, you can. However, there's a caveat, Jenny. You can order them online from Costco, but guess what? They're $18 online at Costco. When you go to the store, they're $10.99. So yes, I can, but I'm spending significant amount more money by doing that. So I suck it up. Costco's only 10 minutes away. It's just the whole process. And usual in envelopes at the Costco, and I don't know if they're all set up different. I've only been to like one or two Costco stores. So the one, my store, the envelopes are kind of up front. So I can I go in, and usually like you go, if you're familiar with Costco, so you go in, there's always like a mad rush at the door. And then you show your card to the person checking, and people like just stop. They show their card and then they just stop. And so there's always like this roadblock right at the entrance because people are putting their cards away or they're getting out their lists. It's like, so I dart to the left. So right as you walk in, it's like the main, like where it's like a herd of cattle going out to the main hallway, aisleway, whatever, to get there. So I dart to the left, which is where like the electronics, and there's like the photo place and like optometrist. So I dart to the left because everybody's following the herd going through the main aisleway. So I don't need, like, that's where there's really nothing there. So you dart out to the left, you beat the crowd. And that's also where the envelopes are. So I just dart to the left, get to my envelopes, but now I've got to go to the food section. The food section at Costco, oh, don't get me started. So I had to find the Parmesan cheese. We suck at dinner. We don't plan. It's 6 o'clock. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. We'll pick. What are my options? I don't know. That's every night in my household. So it's like Costco has like easy microwavable dinners that are delicious. So I went through and it's like I'm just throwing dinner. Okay, we've got dinner for a week. Um, and so then and I checked out and the line was crazy and it was a madhouse. Anyway, so back to so I'm like, okay, I've got my chores done. I came back, unloaded. I'm gonna leave the house at 1:30 to get there at 2:15. It's about 45 minutes. So leave 1:30. I've got a podcast going. I'm cruising down the highway to the off ramp. Now I'm going through the countryside. It's scenic, it's beautiful, all that. I pull in the driveway and I get a text from my wife's friend. She says, the driver is an hour out. Ah, shoot. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm just gonna go drive around. It's a beautiful area. I'm gonna go drive around and check things out. So I drive around, and there's like a little trout creek fishery next to this little church. Just beautiful, scenic area. So go back. It's getting close to 3 o'clock. I'm gonna go back, and so there's like this little roadway that goes out to this like conservation area that's right next to their driveway. Their driveway is a mile long. It's like its own country road. So it's kind of hard to find. So sit there, wait. Like the delivery truck's gonna be coming anytime. By the way, if you're just joining me, yes, I'm going to talk about Fanatics and Tops. I'm just recapping my afternoon yesterday. So I'm waiting, waiting, waiting. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's running ahead of time. Now, I worked in transportation for 7.5 years, and almost never is a delivery driver running early. And when they do, it's holy crap. I can't believe they made it. Super truckers can do it. Super truckers can do it. Most can't. So I go back up to the house, drive up the driveway, nothing there. Okay, I'm going to park. Now, here's where it benefited me, and here's where I'm going to touch on cards for a second. I'm scrolling, I'm checking my emails. I've got a couple of vendors that want to set up for the January 29th Madison Card Show, getting that settled. We're good to go. Oh, hey, guess what? Bowman Draft light boxes are on sale at Tops, $90. Hey, that's a hell of a deal. I'm not going to buy any hobby boxes. I'll buy some light boxes. So I go to the Tops website. I'm putting in the wrong password. I'm thinking I'm cursing the Tops website. It's my fault because I'm dumb and you put the wrong password in. So I eventually get through. They're still on sale. Holy cow. So I bought 10 boxes and I'll rip some and keep some. So George says, by the way, I'm in bed, so that's why I'm not chatting, letting Bo sing me to sleep. Okay. $90 is not a hobby box. It's kind of a hobby box. It's called a light LITE box. So there's no guaranteed autos in these. But I'm gonna go to the Tops website. But the only way to get Bowman Draft is in actually Bowman Draft actually doesn't have hobby boxes. They have like jumbo boxes and super jumbo boxes. It's basically like ordering a Coke at McDonald's. They don't have smalls and they have large, extra large, and super extra jumbo large. So let's see if I can go to the boxes and packs. Let's check it out. If they're still on sale, that's going to be doesn't look like they're available anymore, at least that I can find. Google. So by the way, if you're ever wanting information on a product, check out just Google whatever product you want. There we go. Oh, and it actually Tops comes up. Cardboard Connection and Beckett have great it's where I go, like if I'm listing like some random Panini parallel, there's like 60 of them. So I go and I check out the Cardboard Connection or Beckett. So on the Topps website, it doesn't say, so they are sold out, by the way. So the one of the big differences in the light box is that they have the exclusive black and white ray wave parallels, which are actually really cool. Um, so it doesn't have the specs, which I hate. Okay, Steel City does have. Okay, so the is this the yes, this is the light box. So Steel City, they're 140 on Steel City's website. So they were only 90 bucks on Topps. So the configuration in a light box, you get 11 base cards and 4 chrome base cards plus 1 chrome refractor per pack, and there's 10 packs per box. So you get what, 15, 16. So there's 160 cards per light box. So you're paying, about 50 cents per card, which is really good for a Bowman product. Yeah, the hobby has changed a lot since 2015, 16, even 17. Oh, excuse me, I drank that coffee too fast. So back to so I buy the light boxes. I'm sitting in the driveway waiting for the delivery driver. I buy the light boxes, and it's getting to be, so he's supposed to be there at 2:30, looking like he's going to be closer to 3:15. It's 3:30. I'm like, I'm going to text her just to see if she's got an update. I wait till like 3:40. Text her. I'm like, hey, do you have an update on the driver's ETA? She's like, oh my God, I thought he was long gone. No, he hasn't arrived. So now she can't get a hold of him. Now there's like no cell, like fortunately up top, because they kind of overlook the area. I get some reception. Like down at the base, like where the driveway starts, no reception, no internet, nothing. So fortunately, I was up above, so I could actually text. So finally get a hold of the delivery driver. He got lost, and he's like 30 minutes out. So he eventually arrived at 4 p.m. So he was only an hour and a half late. He pulls up and he's like, well, do you want to carry the heavy stuff first? And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't know I had to lift stuff. Oh man. So fortunately it wasn't too, it was just bulky. It was kind of like a bed frame. I don't even know what it was. I some type of furniture. But it was bulky. So we finally get it in, and I was on my way. So that was my afternoon. So, but in the end, I don't know. I probably, had I been at home, I probably would have just been shipping, oblivious to Bowman Draft light boxes going on sale on the Topps website. But since I'm just sitting waiting for a delivery driver, I'm able to buy some boxes. I'll get to rip some cards. So the Adventures of Bo, absolutely. So before I get into the meat and potatoes here today, sorry you had to listen to me talk about helping unload furniture for 13 minutes and my disdain for Costco. Let's check the chat real quick. Jenny's never been at a Costco. Used to go to Sam's Club. Do you guys have those? We did have a Sam's Club, so that's why Costco's even worse now, because our Sam's Club closed. We had a Sam's Club. It was actually right next door to the Walmart that's closest to me. And so when Sam's Club closed, a lot of the people that held memberships there got Costco memberships, and our Costco is right here. Although they are building another Costco like in Fitchburg, which isn't too far away. I think the land is about a horse apiece. I think either store will be close we're right smack dab in the middle between where the new store will be and the store that we go to. We'll still go to the old store, just that's where like my post office is. That's where like my wife's office is. So it's just easy that way. Anyway, Brad says we have both down here. Jenny, Costco, if close to you, is an Instacart, so that may be a better option than ordering online and still have to go in having it delivered to your door. Probably less anxious of a situation. Costco's an extremely anxious situation for me. I hate crowds. And like I don't even like going to Walmart most of the time. I get impatient, and people are like standing looking at their list. It's just a horrible, shopping in general is a horrible experience for me in store. So yeah, Costco's the worst. But it has like the greatest stuff ever. So it's like I just suck it up, go and do my thing and get the hell out of there as fast as I can. You'll pay a fee, but probably less than shipping. We have a Costco an hour from me. My parents go there. They always ask if I need anything. I say baseball cards. No cards at Costco, which is for me is a good thing. Um, Costco has like a little bit of everything, and like I said, envelopes are like half as much as you can get anywhere else, including Amazon. And what else? I get books. Like I bought a Lee Child Jack Reacher book, like the first one, because I may have read like one or two of those books. So I they had the first one, like commemorating, I don't know, the anniversary or something. I don't know, but it was there. So I'm like, I need a book to read. So I picked that. They have great meals. Their rotisserie chicken is like everybody like flocks to get that. They have a little bit of everything. Unfortunately, no baseball cards. George shops Costco in Korea, and it's madness unless it's a weeknight. And that's what I thought. I went at noon on a Monday thinking I'm gonna have this store to myself. But also they have like you can eat lunch for like $1.50. So you can get like a slice of pizza. You can get like a slice of pizza and a large Coke for like $1.50. It's in hot dogs, and their hot dogs are like this long. So that was weird. George, by the way, I'm in bed, so that's why I'm not chatting. Kelly is with us. What's up, Kelly? Dan, what's up? Who is buying Ben Roethlisberger cards? I don't know. I think he's retiring, so there might be an influx of buyers in the market for Big Ben. I had my parents on a mission to find baseball cards for 2 years at a store that doesn't carry them. This week, I need to change some eBay listings. I think I'm losing sales on the cards I have shipping of 99 cents on. Adjust all that to free ship. David says Costco torta rolls are amazing. What's up, David? Yeah, there's just they have there's so many good things about Costco. It's just the whole experience of Costco is I just dislike. So, big news last night. Thanks to my buddy Jason. He is at Formerly Messy on Twitter, who, by the way, also introduced me to the Rockford Card Show guys. Not just the guys, but the show in general. He's like, hey, you should set up at this card show. And this was back last May. And I've developed some great friendships through that. So thank you to Jason. He sends me a DM last night, and he's like, look at this. This is huge. And so I click on it, and I dropped some expletives like holy shit. This is huge news. Fanatics is going to acquire Topps. So what's interesting is it's not interesting, but Ivan at Watch the Breaks on Twitter tweeted out, and I always try to like find his tweets, but he retweets so many things that it's hard to search his timeline. So he put a poll question out there. Basically, your thoughts. I'm going to try to find it real quick. Basically, your thoughts on this news. And if I can't find it here in the next couple scrolls, I'll just move on. Actually, you know what? What's easier? I replied to it. So I'm going to go back to my replies, and that will show. Oh, I bought a card last night on Twitter. Forgot about that. Let's see. Oh, so Ivan tweets out, knowing Fanatics had already acquired the baseball licenses, how do you feel about the Topps acquisition? And so his options: love it, what I expected, it had to happen, still hate it. So I vote for 3 out of the 4. I think it had to happen. At least Fanatics had to acquire one of the manufacturing card companies. It is what I expected. You know, I just had this feeling that Topps was gonna be the company Fanatics bought, and I love it. So here's why I love it: because Topps is still gonna be Topps. We're still gonna have flagship, and for those, and I know Herman is a huge flagship set collector. So for those people like that want that run of Topps to continue, that run is going to continue. And we're still going to have for guys like me that love Bowman, we're still going to have Bowman in its, most likely in its, what we love about it. So that's why I think it's great. And then so Jason and I we're messaging back and forth, and he's on a I'm thinking I'm being very selfish with my own thoughts on baseball. And then he brings up football and basketball because remember, Fanatics has the licenses for the NBA and the NFL. Tops Chrome basketball, Tops football. What heritage, all of these lines that Tops has can now be used in football and basketball. David says Heritage will evidently continue as well, which is big. Yeah, the Heritage run can continue and all of this. And I'm thinking purely on a baseball side and completely ignoring football and basketball, which is huge. So I love it. I love it. I think it's great. Um, you know, I'm curious what others think. Um, and if you do think it's a bad thing, I'm curious as to why. Um, why would it be a bad thing that Fanatics acquires Tops? Because remember, Tops doesn't have any of the licenses. So, when Fanatics would take over, would it be Fanatics, in that world if Fanatics doesn't acquire Tops? And I believe they're going to make an official announcement today. News broke, and it's on all the main business news websites last night. But if it didn't or doesn't happen, what would you want them to acquire Panini or try to do it in house? Which I don't think they have the capability. And basically, if you've read between the lines with what Fanatics has revealed, it was pretty obvious that they were going to purchase an existing card company. They weren't going to just think of the logistics behind that. It's not a couple guys in a basement creating custom cards. I mean, it's a really in like it's a pretty big I'm losing the word I'm trying to find, but it would be very difficult for that type of a turnaround to create a card company in what, a year, 2, 3 years. So it would be very difficult. So for if anybody does dislike that, Fanatics is going to acquire Tops. I'm curious as to the reasoning and based on the current situation, like it is what it is. Fanatics has the licenses. So it's either Fanatics acquires Tops and we keep that run going, or Fanatics doesn't acquire Tops and they acquire Panini or another company or try to create their own. And what kind of disaster would that lead to? Jenny says, I wonder how they will do the jobs of the employees. I remember my dad's company got bought out. He could reapply for his job after 28 years. Yeah, and there's going to be so many things that I mean, it's obviously a fluid situation, and buyouts, like Jenny said, buyouts can be handled in many different ways. When I was in radio, we were I was a bad luck charm. Basically the only two radio companies I ever worked for were both bought out. Actually, well, the second company wasn't. Well, actually, neither company was bought out, but the stations I worked at were bought out. So the first station, and it was like, I mean, it was a complete blindside. We showed up on March 31st, and then actually, I think on March 30th, the end of the day, or it might have been the morning of, we get a memo from our owner, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna have a meeting at the end of business today." And it's like, oh, and I was not, I was young and naive. I had no idea what that meant. You know, I was by far the youngest full-time employee at the radio station. I was 18 or 19. So, my coworkers were all adults and they were concerned. And I wasn't concerned because I didn't really know how business worked and what was good news, what was bad news. Um, and I also had another job. Like I was finishing up my junior college, and I had already had a full time radio job lined up in the next market. So like, but it was a sad thing because I drove, from where I had moved to home, my parents' house. I was driving right by, and it's like, hey, I could just pop in, see my old coworkers, and I wouldn't have that. So we finished our workday, and our boss read a memo from the new owner, and turn in your keys. You're done. You're not coming to work tomorrow, which is a really shitty way to conduct business, in my opinion. And for me, I was 18, 19, still living with my parents, but I had coworkers that this is how they fed their children, how they made a living. For me, I was just, hey, I can, you know, live off my parents for a month before I take my next job. But for these coworkers of mine, and to treat them like that just sucks. The second position, I had worked at the radio, and then the radio station I went to work for. I worked there for how long? 5, 6 years, and and we were completely transparent. Like, hey, we're going to sell the station. We're going to sell it to the competitor in this market. Um, you can go to another station within the company, or you can apply with, stay in this market and apply with the new ownership group. And I was staying with the company. Even though I lived, and I found the next closest market to be a challenging situation, which at that point I you know thrived in, and that really gave me um, kind of a second wind in radio, really. And so it was handled much differently, and in my opinion much better. So the buyouts, and I mean, they can be handled several different ways. It could be like, hey, today's your last day, give me your key. Oh, if you want to reapply, you can. Or it's like, hey, this is what's coming down the pipeline, you know do what you feel is best for you. You and your family are number one. So who knows? In a lot of things are going to come along, good or bad. Kelly says, what are the chances they buy Panini and Upper Deck and we go back to the variety of the 80s of ball cards? That's a great question. What does Panini and Upper Deck do? It sounds like Upper Deck is pretty set. They are not gonna sell. At least that's the front they're putting on. And we all know how that fronts can, you know, things change. So it sounds like Upper Deck's firmly entrenched in, we're not selling. Panini, on the other hand, I mean, Panini selling, and I think, well, they might have been going public at one point, um, but at I think Panini does sell. Now Panini's complete. Last week, it's like, what the hell's Topps going to do? They lost all the sports. They don't have any sports licenses outside of F1 and maybe some soccer products and NIL. And Topps is screwed. Panini's getting WWE, and they've got some soccer products. Now it's like, oh, Topps is now being acquired by Fanatics. Oh crap! Now Panini's out in the cold. What's Panini gonna do? Um, Now, I don't know the financial situation of Collectors Holdings, but it would not surprise me if Collectors Holding bought. They are the overhead ownership group of PSA, Golden Auctions, and other entities within the hobby. I don't know if they have the capital. I mean, Nat Turner's a part of it, Steve Cohen, who's a billionaire. So I'm sure the capital can be raised by Collectors Holding to purchase a Panini. It wouldn't shock me or really surprise me if Collectors Holdings put together the capital to buy a Panini, and in that way they can. And now we have kind of two big conglomerates, Fanatics and Collectors Holdings. Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. We're gonna go back up to Jenny mentions the big shock in MLB news. Yeah, Ken Rosenthal is leaving, and I haven't read the articles, but I saw like some of his comments about Rob Manfred possibly could have been the reason why. I'll have to read a little more into that today. Kelly says it actually wouldn't have been that difficult to start up a card printing facility. The number of printing companies that have closed over the last decade would have made it easier to acquire. And that's an interesting thought because there's like a huge holdup in demand for cards getting printed, and that's why we're seeing such delays in releases. So many releases have been pushed back. We've seen with Bowman Draft First Edition, like those 50-pack boxes, I think are finally getting shipped. I would have been pissed. I didn't order any. I did last year, but I didn't order any this year. I would have been really ticked off had I bought one of those. And here we are a couple weeks after Bowman Draft is released. The reason you buy first edition is to get ahead of Bowman Draft, the real product. And so now it's like, well, now what do I do? I'm not certain as to the reasoning behind it, but I'm pretty sure it probably has something to do with the printing facility. Jenny says that happened to my sister-in-law. My sister Perkins shut down from pandemic, got told at 4 p.m. they were closed forever as of an hour ago. No job now. It just sucks. It just sucks to treat your employees like that. Dan said, finally got a bite on my singles for sale in the Korean forum. You do you, Bo. B-Rad, what is your live schedule this week? People tried to buy Panini before they lost the license. Yeah, that's what I thought there was a sale, like it was up for sale, and then possibly I think A-Rod had a group that were gonna buy it. And then Fanatics turned the hobby world upside down and put Panini and Topps' plans in the toilet. No live schedule for Brad this week. Announcement later today. Ed, what's up, Ed? I'm late, but good morning to you. Let's see. And good morning. So yeah, I think it's a great thing, and I'm interested to see what comes out today. It sounds like an announcement will be made later today. So I'm excited. Like I think this is great news for the hobby because Topps basically stays Topps, and how it's going to be run. Is it going to be autonomous, where it's basically like you do your thing. Fanatics is just going to handle like it's there's probably going to be a little, and I think a lot of this was talked about. Fanatics acquires Topps. You still have 2025 Topps Series 1, and then on the back of the card in the lower corner, do I have a Topps card around here? There's got to be a Topps card around here somewhere. Come on, Topps. Where's my Topps cards? That's Panini. Oh, geez. You would think out of 2 million cards down here, okay, here's a 1978 Topps Tony Perez. Like down in the corner, there's a little Fanatics logo. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen. And then how it's handled, who knows. But I think it's going to be, I don't think much will change as far as like the current products. I think the current products will roll out. You might see some changes where this product may fall off. You're going to get some new blood within the company framework, which can be a good thing, could be a bad thing. We don't know. We'll find out in a couple of years, I guess. But I think overall it's going to be a good thing. We could see some inspiring new designs. Who knows? The sky is the limit. Will we see lots more card designs? I kind of hope not. What I would like, and here this is just in my opinion, I would like to see not much change as far as what Topps is doing currently, but I would like to see a little more originality with the designs. They seem to be pretty stale. Now, and that's why I like Topps Fire, because it's so different. But if it continues, look at Topps Fire over the run, and I think it started in 2016 as an insert, or maybe 2015 or 14. I think maybe 2014, and then it went to a full set in 16. I can't remember. But anyway, if you look back at the run of Topps Fire, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, they all kind of look the same. Look at Allen and Ginter. It was like in 2008 or whenever Ginter started. It was like, oh, this is awesome. And now here we are. So many people are crying out, oh, we need to end Ginter. It all looks the same. And I think pretty much all designs, because you have to kind of keep a similar framework. You've got a brand, and Topps flagship is a brand. You don't want to go off the wall and create like a Topps Fire type design to a base flagship set. But I would like to see, and I think Topps did a great job in the 70s and 60s and 70s and 80s and into the 90s, and then like the late 90s. And I've said this before, maybe it's me. Maybe it's my, like, just, I was getting into high school in the late 90s, and I was getting away from the hobby. I was paying less attention to baseball cards. Maybe that's why cards all look the same to me, because now I'm not really paying close attention to cards. I'm in and out of the hobby through my college years and early adulthood. Maybe that's on me. Maybe that's just because of the era. Whereas, I know 91 Topps and 92 Topps and 93 Topps. Although 92 and 93, I kind of look the same. And then 98, 99, I still, how many years later? 25 years later, I still have a hard time differentiating 98 and 99 Topps. And they did themselves no favors, because sometimes you look on the back of a 98 Topps and it's like Series 2 or whatever, and it has the first half stats of 1998. Anyway, I digress. Vintage Oddball Cards is with us. Good morning. Cautiously optimistic, says Ed, but Topps has some issues to resolve. And hopefully, so I think a lot of the issues that have popped up here recently, I know we could point fingers and scapegoat. Well, they don't care because Fanatics has the license now. I think a lot of it's COVID related, where, I mean, look at just wherever you're at, when you visit places, when you're listening to the radio. I mean, I was listening to the radio, and there's a radio advertisement because one of our local school districts needs bus drivers. There's radio ads for school district bus drivers. Every store you walk into, almost every store, has a sign, now hiring. So I think Topps is having a hard, like, they probably are understaffed. We know the backlog at printing facilities and the mess that's creating to the company's supply chain. So, it's not Topps throwing their hands in the air saying we give up. It's just all of these things together are creating, because Topps isn't the only one that's having all these issues. Topps has by far more products than Upper Deck and Panini. And and when you're doing that understaffed, they probably weren't staffed well enough, prior to all of these employment issues. And now you throw that in, now they're understaffed, and now we've got some trouble. Dan says, I wish we could we could hold a knife to MLB's throat and tell them to get rid of the exclusive license. Don't care about the other sports. Yeah, I don't know how I feel now that Topps is going to be acquired by Fanatics. I don't really feel that strongly about exclusives, because, and here's my thought on non-exclusive. Look what happened in the early 90s. And that was a perfect storm. It wasn't just because it was non-exclusive anymore. But we had all of these different card companies, and it was just, and I mean, we get enough products from Topps alone. If you open it up to every Tom, Dick, and Harry card company, I don't know. Now that Fanatics is going to acquire Topps, I feel much better about the exclusive, because my biggest gripe was I want to see Topps basketball cards. I want to see Topps football cards. I really don't have like Panini Prism's cool and all, but I'd rather have Topps Chrome than Panini Prism. Um, I never, and maybe it's because Panini's never had the baseball license. Maybe that's why I really don't care about Panini as much because I am baseball centric. And I look through all of this through the baseball lens. Um, would it have been cool to see logos and all that on Panini Prism? Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it really didn't, the needle didn't go on Panini for me. And maybe that is because they never held the MLB license. Um, I don't like one company with all the power. I want parity. Yeah, as long as they're putting out products that I like, um, I don't care if it's a monopoly or not. If I love Topps cards, I mean, I love baseball cards, and Topps is putting out enough. Uh, do they put out cards that I don't like? Sure, I just don't buy them. Do they make decisions that I don't like? Absolutely, every company does. But it is what it is, in my opinion. But it now that Topps can do basketball and football cards now, it's like, hell yeah, bring it on, let's go. I want to see some heritage basketball, man. Archives basketball, oh, bring it on. Now hopefully the one thing that I want to see is baseball. Topps, please do away with archives in its existing format and put some like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle designs or Alf or Howard the Duck designs as opposed to the 714th 87 Topps design, because I'm sick of those. Just do away with that, because now we've got Heritage is already up to what, 70, where are we at, 72 Topps. So let's retire archives in its current format, and hopefully somebody at Fanatics is in the driver's seat that has that same belief. And I know I'm not the only one that shares that opinion. Just do away with recreating all of these old designs, come up with something new, or at least rehash designs that we don't see. 88 Topps, you can do some 88 Topps, because for some reason, I know it kind of sucks as a design, but I mean, I'd rather have, I'd be more excited to pull a Topps Archives, 2022 Topps Archives. I'd be much more excited to open up a pack of 2022 Archives next year and see 88 Topps as opposed to another 87 Topps design or another 91 Topps, another 90 Topps. I'm sick of those designs over and over. And I know, yes, I was a child of the 80s and 90s, and it's nostalgia and all that, but too much, what did I say yesterday? Too much of a good thing is no longer a good thing, or is a bad thing, or whatever that saying is. I don't know. Ken Rosenthal made criticism about Rob Manfred. Yeah. I have to read that article. That sucks. Fire Manfred. Get the damn lockout over. It's January 4th. Get to work. I want to go to spring training in March. I want baseball to start on time. Get to work. Kelly says logos being airbrushed out is not a new phenomenon, though. And I'd love to see all of the oddballs come back. Post, Jello, MSA disc, RC Cola cans. Give me the variety with or without the logos. And we do see some of that with what's the food company on the East Coast. We've seen some food brands come out. Yeah, we collect, those were airbrushed out. We collected, I've got some macaroni and cheese craft cards over on the shelving unit. So yeah, we collected those. It's not new. Heck, they were doing it in the 70s, with let's see, how long can it take me to find an airbrush 70s card? I know 74 was pretty. I've got some 74 trade-ins here. So yeah, it's definitely not a new phenomenon. Oh, Fernando Gonzalez, no batting helmet. I mean, look at the airbrush job on that. I mean, that is top of the line airbrushing 1974 on old Nellie Bryles, Kansas City Royals. What else? Do we have any really bad? There's the 78 tops Greg Mitten card is probably the most notorious airbrush job of all time. Here's for George. Uh, George is probably snoring right now. St. Louis Cardinals, Pete Reichert. So yeah, airbrushing has been going on for a long time. So that's what I had. That's my thoughts. I think Fanatics acquiring tops um, is going to be a great thing. I'm excited for it. I've been cautiously optimistic about the whole Fanatics deal. Um, I want to see how it plays out. I wasn't doom and gloom. Oh my God, the hobby's dead. I had a feeling Tops was going to be their target, and we would have Tops flagship set continuing on. So I think this is great news. I'm excited to hear more about it today when they make the announcement official. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, hey, guess what? We might talk about this again tomorrow, depending on what news comes out today. If anything new comes out, I'm not gonna beat the hell out of this story. I'm not gonna talk about it every day. Um, Only if something new develops. So tomorrow morning I might talk about it again, just because if we find out something new, or if details are talked about today, we can I'll share my thoughts tomorrow morning. Otherwise, we move on until the next story. But breakout cards. My buddy Ryan tweeted out. He's like, January 1st we had what was January? I can't remember what January 1st was. January 2nd we have Rookie Gate with Wander Franco. January 3rd, Fanatics. It's like, what's tomorrow gonna bring? Wow, every day of 2022 has been jam packed with hobby hobby news, big hobby news. What's tomorrow gonna bring? So have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow, and have a great Tuesday.